Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath,
the podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grunbaum.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hello, Diana.
Hey, Polina.
How are you doing today?
I'm not as nasally as the last episode.
That is good. Yeah, things have improved a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times.
Yes. Here we are.
We are here, and we are talking about Roxanne, 1987.
And, well, you know, you made this pick.
I did.
And the day after, you made the pick, and my apologies to the listener, but it's been stuck in my head. Roxanne!
I'm glad you... See, you did... So are you going to sing for every Steve Martin movie that we do?
No. I was like, quick. No. No. Dang it. I am not...
Now I suddenly have King Tut stuck in my head. It's just going to have to come out at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I tried to... I had the same for like a couple days, and now it's gone.
Don't stand so close.
Are we doing
to
the
jerk?
entire...
What?
Oh,
No,
nice
it didn't
one.
work.
Yeah. Well, it was better than... It made sense. Okay, so...
I promise, listeners, I will not Roxanne again.
Roxanne.
I cannot speak for Polina. She's apparently going to do it.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so this is... here, I will explain it to you. I will read the overview from the Google. In this modern take of Edmond Rostand's classic play, Cyrano de Bergerac, C.D. Bales, Steve Martin, is the witty, intelligent, and brave fire chief of a small Pacific Northwest town who, due to the size of his enormous nose, declines to pursue the girl of his dreams. The lovely Roxanne Kowalski, played by Daryl Hannah. 1987, Daryl Hannah was everywhere. Instead, when his shy underling, Chris McConnell... See, again, I take issue with that. I don't think he's shy. He was just... He, was weird. He would just become weirdly nauseous. He wasn't shy at any other time.
He was shy with her. He was intimidated by her.
That's it.
He's usually... Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Becomes smitten with Roxanne, Bales feeds the handsome young man the words of love to win her heart. I wonder what happens. Okay, so I picked this movie mostly because My Blue Heaven.
You referred to it as a Steve Martin palate cleanser.
Yeah. I just needed some more Steve Martin, and I needed Steve Martin at his most charming. And not maybe his most charming, but I just needed that. And then I remembered how into this movie I was when I was younger.
I know it's there's a term for it, but after you saying we're going to do Roxanne for the movie, for the episode, of course, I hear someone else on a different podcast talk about how much they love Roxanne. And then I met up with some other people, and they're just like, I love Roxanne. And I actually didn't even bring it up. I was talking about, I was talking about My Blue Heaven. And,
wow.
And they're just like, oh, I love Roxanne. And I'm like, recording tomorrow.
What did they love about it?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
It's just I love it.
Well, if they had told me, I would have yelled at them, save it for air, and that wouldn't have made any sense.
You would have whipped out your phone and made them record something.
That's mean. I mean, we were just kind of hanging out.
You're like, I want to ruin my friendships because I have a weird hobby.
No, they were podcasters too. It's just no, it's just like, hey, professional, give me some free content. Go. Also, can I freshen up your water? Don't they
always give us free content? Have we ever? Well, we usually buy people lunch. We usually do get them snacks and booze.
No, give me free content that I can repackage. No, they were on a break.
Yes. Okay. It's fair. You guys were probably having fun or something.
Definitely.
I don't know. Anyway, so I saw this movie. So this movie made quite an impression on me. I was by my math, I was 14, 15.
87, right?
87. Okay. And I, that's how old I am. It's true.
You're 87?
No,
you're fine.
Don't
do the math.
I can't.
Well, no, I mean, did you saw it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater. I saw it, I think, with my parents or possibly a friend.
Okay.
I don't quite remember, but I know I saw it again a couple times. I think mostly like renting with friends. It was around. It was just kind of a big movie. And I was kind of, I mean, first off, obviously we talked about like Steve Martin, amazing, really, really funny. This is actually, I think, the movie right after My Blue Heaven. Or right before.
My Blue Heaven came after. Because that was
I'm sorry. It was right before. And also, like Daryl Hannah to me this is after Splash, where she kind of made a debut. She was just, I don't know. I just found her, like, I just wanted to be her so bad. Because she was, first off, she had curly hair.
Did you want to be Daryl Hannah? Did you want to be Madison?
No, I don't think I wanted to be a merman. No, I think more I wanted to be Roxanne. Like, I wanted to be Daryl Hannah as well. She just seemed like she had a really cool life.
Are you sure you didn't want to be Elle Driver from Kill Bill?
That's later.
Okay.
This is like 14-year-old me.
Oh, okay. In the future.
Yeah, in the future. There was no Kill Bill. Plus, me and violence. Blood. I'm so delicate. I'm such a delicate flower.
I know you in horror, but I don't know you in violence.
Fight scenes, I don't know. Mixed.
I don't know. What if it's like Jason Statham hurling a baby?
Oh yeah, well I can't. I mean, I was drunk at the time, but yeah, Jason Statham hurling a baby is incredibly satisfying.
For the listener at home, we actually had an evening with Jason Statham and a baby. We're not referring to seeing a movie together or anything.
Yeah, no.
Polina was drunk.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I actually had to ask Diana if it really happened because I was really drunk last night. So did Jason Statham really, really hurl that baby?
What was weird is that you kept saying Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
I loved you in Splash.
I know that now I feel really horrible about that.
Yeah, but she took it in good stride.
Well, she's a very charming person. She did. She handled that with grace.
Would you say Daryl Hannah was the Charlize Theron of the 80s? You don't have to answer that. I just
sorry. I was like, I don't know. Yes, I guess she was. Anyway, but she was like dating oh my God, I just forgot his name. It's not Joe Jackson.
Jack Johnson.
She was just so
Jesse Jackson.
No, Jack.
Who are we talking
something
about?
Jackson. Anyway, she just was like super, super cool.
Nice.
And of course the curly hair, and the big eyes and the charm and anyway. And also like, this is a great Steve Martin movie. Like there's a lot of like, his physical comedy in this movie is so pleasurable.
I'm going to need a little bit more detail with that because that was a stunt double, right? The person doing all of the gymnastics.
I got that. But even like, okay, so at one
you can't
point,
give Steve Martin credit for that.
No, but just, he did other things like,
now I'm wondering if he had a stunt double for the merengue scenes in My Blue Heaven.
I bet not.
I don't think so either.
No, he's like knows how to dance.
Okay.
He probably had a stunt double for those, but then he had other like he opens with this whole bit where he's basically like walking to work, and he just like he kind of makes it into a bit of a bit. Like he's singing this song. He's like playing with a racket. He's just kind of dancing. Like there's all these great things. And then, so he's the fire chief of the town. And there's just a lot of these great bits where basically everybody else in the volunteer fire department are super, super useless. And they're mostly basically using their volunteering to get girls.
Yeah, I actually had to like truly process. I'm like, volunteer fire department does not compute.
Really?
To me, it didn't, because the fire department was just people who were employed as fire people.
Because I've lived in places that had like, it's like partially volunteer. There's like extra people who are like volunteer firefighters.
Yeah.
Sort of extra hands.
Nope, did not compute for me.
Yeah.
My daddy got paid for his firefighting.
Oh.
But his was very specific to a refinery. But,
okay.
But like the local fire people, we didn't exactly like, say hello and ask them about their paychecks. So it could have happened. I just didn't realize it.
I don't think it's everywhere, but
No,
it's
of course
usually
not.
but I think small towns that I like.
Also,
Like when I lived in Woodstock, New York, which is very briefly, like I just was there for a summer doing summer stock.
well, what's the
they had a
population?
partially, it's small.
Well, that's kind of my point, though. I mean, like kind of larger.
Yeah,
cities.
like San Francisco does not have a volunteer fire department, but I've like lived in towns.
If anything, anyone volunteering. Well, from what I understand, I had a few friends whose husbands were firefighters, and they were living in one town, but actually worked at like
in another town.
like cities over.
Yeah.
Like you live in the suburbs.
Well, especially in the Bay Area.
Oh yeah, you
because
live in the
everything's
suburbs
so ridiculous.
of, and you did the
I mean, this is like a huge crisis in our
Right. So volunteer firefighters, it's interesting, and I wouldn't say all of them were doing it to get girls.
No.
Just
I mean,
that
I think
one
they were
guy
just like,
that I wanted to punch in the face.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was actually weird. That was like issue thing. But anyway, so he's clearly like, it's this lovely like kind of ski resort town. It's filmed in Nelson, British Columbia.
But it takes place in Washington,
I think so.
according to what I read.
Yeah.
Washington State.
Yeah. And so it's like a beautiful town with like, a tourist, clearly like a tourist industry.
And the wacky mayor.
And the wacky mayor and like the wacky fire chief. Like he is very,
He's pretty wacky, actually.
yeah, he's super wacky. Like he's really,
And not just because of his nose either. He's like, beating up people with tennis rackets and
yeah, it's so basically he's got this, like Cyrano de Bergerac, he's got this gigantic nose, gigantic. And so whenever people mention it, he basically beats them up in this very clever, usually very kind of funny way. Like in that first scene, when somebody mentioned something about the nose, he turned around and he did this whole sort of like, took these two kind of drunk guys. He claimed they were just high, but he took these two guys on with a tennis racket as like a prop. And then my other like absolute favorite thing that I love this scene. I like rewatched it like over and over and over again. But he goes, he's trying to convince these, like he loves to play tricks on the old ladies.
Is that what
walk
he was
around.
doing?
So he was trying to play a trick where basically, I think he was trying to get.
I just thought he was being wacky.
I think he just thinks it's like, yeah, he's definitely like the town. Everybody's kind of a character in the town. Everyone knows each other. They.
Okay, go ahead.
But he's a total character. But anyway, so he's trying to convince these old ladies that basically these aliens have landed.
Okay, yeah.
And because he basically wants them to interrupt Roxanne being intimate with the Chris McConnell character, the guy that he ends up like being the mouthpiece for.
So back up a step.
But he does this really great thing where he goes, he sort of pretends that he's got these suction cups on his hands and feet, and he goes, and it's like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. But we will link to, I'll find a link and we'll link it in the show notes.
You heard it. Polina has taken responsibility for this.
I have.
What I think is really great about the beginning of that scene is that he literally falls out of a tree.
Yes.
These women are walking down the street and all of a sudden it's just psh, and he falls down. And that got me. That was just like classic
Yes,
Steve
exactly.
Martin. Pratt falls literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay, tree falls specifically.
But the way that exactly. And then at first you're like, how the hell did he get in the tree? Like it makes no sense. And then you're like, oh, he's been waiting for these old women to walk by. And
Well-
he convinces them that they want to have sex with older women,
The aliens.
which is a little weird.
Right.
But,
so
but
this
kind of hysterical.
Well, this is based off of a classic tale.
Classic play. Yeah.
A play, okay. And so just backing up, I'm not going to assume that all of our listeners are familiar with the Cyrano de Bergerac story. And fill in those blanks for people.
So it's essentially this guy,
Cyrano.
who goes to who basically ends up being and he's got a big nose, so he feels like he's very much deformed and no one's going to love him. But he's super, super clever and beloved. And what he does is he convinces, and I think he's a military. I mean, it's been like
well, I read
a really long time.
I read the Wikipedia
Thank
breakdown
you.
of it, but the basic idea of it, because the baseline stories are always so amazing,
Yeah.
and of course they're always told in high school versions of it in the 1990s. So if you saw the movie Whatever It Takes, you've seen the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty common and it's actually also really common.
Right.
Romantic comedy trope is basically somebody speaking through.
Well, so Cyrano is in love with Roxanne. Roxanne has fallen for the classically handsome person.
Yeah.
And she's just like, can you put in a good word for me? Can you, ask him out for me or something like that? And so this guy, not as clever, not as witty. He's just a pretty face. And I don't know if I don't have to work on it because I'm pretty or...
Well, and also he just doesn't have, I don't even think it's a working on it. I just don't think he's he just doesn't have those interests. And in this case,
and then
he's so nervous.
Well,
that the
in
guy
the movie
is
Roxanne,
yes. But I think in the original play as well. But of course, I haven't read it since high school.
But the idea is Cyrano writes letters, and this other person signs his name at the bottom, or he's hiding off in the shadows and feeding lines to him.
Yeah, and that's like a classic scene of he's hiding in the bushes or in the trees, and.
It's like a balcony.
And she's on a balcony.
Probably the second most famous balcony situation in the classic oeuvre.
And just like this idea that there's the person and the person, like there's like the physical appearance and then there's the personality, I think is and confusing. This is like a pretty common romantic comedy trope. But I think one of the things that I really loved about this movie is when I watched it at the time. And for some reason, it's funny. I remember the wooing being longer.
Okay.
For some reason. But essentially, Roxanne is in this movie. She is a astronomer.
Graduate student.
Astronomy graduate student, and she is trying to. She's in this town for the summer, trying to because she thinks she's discovered this comet, and so she'll have a comet named after her because it's really special. And she when they first meet, she basically gets locked out of her house in the most improbable way, and she ends up basically.
Not just locked out of her house.
Yeah. So she basically accidentally locks herself out of the house. Familiar. Locks herself out of her house, and she's wearing just a robe, and it catches in the door.
Yep.
And so then she basically, because she has to go down to the fire station to try to get them to open her door, and she's naked, so she has to hide, and so she basically has to hide the whole time, and she never sort of sees his face. And then they start talking, and one of the things that she starts telling him about astronomy. And the one thing I really like is all the people in this movie, the romantic lead woman is not, we're always bitching about the clumsy girl. It's actually the guys who are really clumsy.
Well, in a sense, I agree with you, except it's not so much she's clumsy as I don't know, the whole getting your rope caught in the door. That was a little.
Also, if you're doing that, wouldn't you take the cat?
What do you mean? To cover
her
myself?
whole thing is, just to because her whole thing is she's trying to get the cat inside.
Right. What do you mean take the cat though?
Wouldn't she take the cat to the fire station?
Nah, I'd be too angry. I would just be about getting back into the house.
Yeah. I don't know. I would
take the cat to cover myself.
That's true. And it was a pretty big cat. Yep. So at the very least, you got half your body covered, plus warm.
Wouldn't be able to move as quickly though.
That's true. Yeah. And the cat might jump out. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, no,
beyond that, but after that,
I think
that
I get what you were
first
saying.
thing is is kind of an accident, and it is a little weird. But like, this character is not. She's really discerning. I mean, at least like with the guys, like she's not. She's looking for someone, but she's not. Like she's really smart and successful. And I think like when I saw this when I was younger, that was sort of the magic of it for me. Rewatching it, like there's definitely some weird problematic bits, but like to me, there were two sort of really compelling fantasies, sort of really compelling ideas. If you take the sort of just the sheer pleasure of watching Steve Martin. And this is something he wrote the screenplay.
Yes.
So it's a pleasure of him, kind of building this world, and the pleasure of his physical comedy and also his verbal agility and just his like charm. And the character is like super smart, really lovely, and incredibly charming.
Gigantic chip on his shoulder.
But like a gigantic chip on his shoulder. But to me, so there were the two most compelling things when you're 14. So one is there's this image of this woman. This is why I want to be here. Is like she's got this really cool career, like super, super interesting career. She also inspires like these. He writes these like incredible love letters to her, or at least like at the time they seemed, to me, absolutely incredible. And so there's the twin fantasy of wanting. Of like, this is what I want to be. I want to have curly hair. Very important. That was my.
So you're about the curls, not the blonde.
The blonde curly hair. I mean, it's just kind of a bonus.
Okay.
But blonde curly hair. My mother always kind of got on my case about the fact that I didn't have curly hair because she kept saying that like that's why she married my father. I think you married my father because like you got pregnant, but that's another story.
Well, I was about to say she got on your case for not having curly hair.
I'm kind of like it's your fault, dude.
I was about to say your genetics won.
Yeah, but my mother's hair is much better than mine, so that sucks.
Polina's mom 1, Polina 0.
Oh my god, that's like my whole life.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway,
shit just got real.
It got real.
I'm sorry. Curly hair.
No, I'm in a dark place. I'm in a dark place now. I can't go back.
Let's go back to the blonde.
Okay, go back to the twin fantasies.
Curly.
Yeah. She's got this. I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous, and also has this really, really smart, and has a career she's really passionate about.
She gets to name a comet.
She gets to name a comet after herself.
No. She gets to name the comet, and she doesn't. Well, she could if she wanted to name it after herself, but it's her.
They usually
decision.
Do.
Well,
when they find things,
why wouldn't
I have found?
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. There's no reason. The thing is, and
why wouldn't you name the comet 24601? M.
And so there's that, and then the compelling fantasy of living in the like kind of a small town that where it's still really fun, which I don't imagine living like a small can be. But also, so inspiring this kind of like love and loyalty, but also having this really, really amazing independent life. We get to look at comets, like that's awesome.
No, you get to find the comets after doing math.
Yeah. Well, okay, and also like a total fantasy. I would in this thing. I would be really good at math. Something that my parents also got on my case about. Man, I have a lot of issues. So
this isn't about Daryl Hammond.
It's not. It's not about Daryl.
I almost said Daryl Hammond.
It's not about Daryl. It's not about Daryl Hammond either. It's not about. It's also not about organs. So we. But then also, so you have that, but then you also have the, I was 14, I'm feeling super, super awkward and weird. I'm tall, I'm weirdly skinny at the time, but not like in a good way, in a like everyone confuses me for being a boy sort of way, and the short, bad haircut doesn't help. And I feel like, I felt like the Steve Martin character. I felt like seedy, and CD, not CD. And and so to be that comfortable in yourself, even though, if you take out the chip on his shoulder, but also
Well, he's accepted it, except for when he didn't. But go ahead.
yeah, like you can't quite.
Before Roxanne came in and opened up the wound.
Yes,
He had
you
been
are correct.
made peace with it.
I just felt like really, I loved, and also that, my sort of force of personality and charm was, that was going to work. So it's just that I think made this movie really, really compelling to me. Rewatching it is a little different. So how about you?
So I have no recollection of the first time I watched this. So it's one of those movies like The Wizard of Oz or It's a Wonderful Life where it's just bits and pieces. It was
always there.
No, not even it's always there, but bits and pieces permeated to where I knew the beats. I knew it was Steve Martin. I have a vivid memory of the box as I'm wandering through Blockbuster and or Hollywood Video. Just that whole thing of him like kind of half. I don't even know if it's not even like.
It's him like he has this hat out and he sort of looks like he's kind of curtsying a little bit.
Thank you, curtsying, like he's trying to catch something with a hat or something. Yeah, as Roxanne, the title is above him. And that's what I remember of it. But really watching it from beginning to end, I think for the first time was for the show.
And?
It was fine. Although I will say that there was an episode of the podcast, One Person's Trash is Our Treasure, Optiot, where they went over the Cyrano story and Roxanne as kind of a double analysis. So I was able to kind of pick up all these different pieces and criticisms from their analysis. So I'm, using their hard work to sound really intelligent right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you suggested it, I'm just like, ooh, they talked about a couple places right now. So I'm wondering when you rewatch it, will it be a lot worse than young 14-year-old Polina? You romanticized it, but he could have gotten her a coat when she was naked.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, there were a lot of moments, and it's not nearly as cringy as rewatching some other movies, like, Revenge of the Nerds comes to mind, where...
Well, it's not as egregious.
And he kind of made a joke about... So let's just, like... The thing that really got me, especially the second time I watched it, was that whole thing where they met, where basically he... he kind of keeps this patter going.
Sure.
And it's, probably also because he's seeing people, he's a firefighter. So he's seeing people in stressful situations. He keeps this whole patter going. And he's like, I won't look. But then he kind of makes a couple like jokes about her body. And like,
great job not getting a tattoo. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Like, and then when she finally gets in the house and she's freezing cold, it's the Pacific Northwest at night. I mean, it doesn't matter what season it is; it's just cold. And he, and she basically like, turns around and he's made this like cheese tray. What is she saving that cheese? And then and kind of like, and granted, it's a small town, and he knows like the person who runs the house, and he knows that they're friends. But like he doesn't really, like, that's kind of creepy. Like he's basically in her home, uninvited.
Her rental, yeah.
Yeah, her rental, but like it's still her home, and like
it had more to do with the fact that she was put in a position of like, oh, do you want a coat? No, I want to be out here naked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like he didn't just go back in and get the coat. And like he just, and I think at the time, and I think like if you compare it to a lot of movies of this era, it comes off like in comparison quite respectful, because the whole thing is that Chris really just likes her for her body.
Okay.
Or her beauty. And this guy sort of is in love with her in this, very like kind of kind of big L sort of way. Like, I don't have the words, you're like the sun kind of way, like a very sort of a poetic way, romantic, not just in romantic, but like a romantic poet sort of way.
You're talking about their banter, right? Not the fact that he took her sarcasm at face value, knowing full well that she was being sarcastic and decided to not get her a coat anyways.
Yeah, I'm talking about their banter, but just like, I think that's like when I first saw it,
Sure.
in comparison to other movies, the whole thing was there was supposed to be a contrast between the other guy, Chris, who just likes her because she's pretty.
Right, and is so intimidated by her he throws up.
Yeah. And
Ooh, that's something to strive for.
yeah, exactly. That was also like an effect I really wanted to have on men.
Attractive men are so intimidated by you, they throw up.
I didn't really think this through, but I was 14, and I think I felt like I was going to throw up every time I had a crush on somebody. So, but going back to that, so we'll deal with this in therapy later. So, and yeah, rewatching it, like, there's the guys and they're supposed to be creepy, but there's just lots of these. There's still like he's not perfect. Like it's still a little like edgy and awkward.
Which he?
I'm sorry. CD.
C.D. Barnes. Okay.
CD Bales.
C.D. Bales. Who does think of C.D. Barnes?
CD. I know. Anyway.
Okay. Well, I think there's always that interesting contrast of throwing in the worst of the worst in the group that way. Well, I mean,
it's not so bad.
Yeah, he's not so bad compared to creepy guy who owns the dead animal shop who keeps making really gross, advances.
Yeah, like
on Roxanne.
he's like, oh yeah, we have this ritual of hot tub, and she kind of sees through it, and she knows how to handle guys like that. But yeah, it's like, and I guess that's supposed to be the point, is she's just used to dealing with guys like this. That's kind of how I saw it.
And also he walks up and says like, oh, aren't you Miss January 86? And
which you actually see him do for like 3 different women. Like he's got all these lines about.
I couldn't stop staring at him, and I'm just like, all right, what do I know you from? And it's the janitor from the Breakfast Club.
Wow.
Yeah, which he wasn't as crappy in that movie. So like one of 2 adults in the movie. Woo.
Okay. Also, like I just want to. There's some great people in it.
Sure. Shelley Duvall is. She actually plays CD's god sister,
and they're just super close.
Yeah, they're good friends.
And she owns the cafe in town,
and the rental that Roxanne is living in.
There's Kevin Nealon, even a very brief scene in the beginning.
Yeah, he gets the crap beaten out of him by a tennis racket.
Mm-hmm. That's fun to watch.
Yeah. I enjoyed Fred Willard's wacky.
I was going to say Fred Willard is beautiful in this movie.
Fred Willard is just.
I need the all Fred Willard edit.
A welcome addition to all movies.
Yeah, it's never unwelcome. Mm-hmm. Always a delight. So
I see now. I'm just thinking of him.
And then
in
Michael
Spinal
Pollard,
Tap.
isn't it? Yeah. Oh God, yes. Well, in all of those movies, I'm like, I love all of those movies.
No, sorry, just
so good.
Yeah, and he's introducing Spinal Tap. They're a big fan of yours. Not you specifically, but just the whole genre of music.
I love that movie so much. But anyway, I can't go into it. So did those things stand like? Does these kind of spoil the pleasure for you, or was it more like?
I don't think so, because just the whole idea of someone. So this is kind of unfair, because the idea behind it is he's a Steve Martin specifically and his character, perfectly nice looking person who just happens to have a singular flaw. Yeah. So when a younger version of me gets the idea behind someone who is so absolutely taken by you, by your intelligence, by your creativity, or your ability to connect with them, if I'm, of course I'm Roxanne in this scenario where no, I love them anyways because.
Yeah, that actually also kind of like stuck in my craw a little bit.
What's that?
That I was like, that Roxanne, I mean, him and Roxanne had a connection from the beginning, and they became friends. And the fact that it was sort of like, oh, the whole conceit of Cyrano, the whole conceit of the story,
of course,
is that you're supposed to assume that he's not just like him. You're supposed to assume that he is not a good love partner, which
is so unfair, because again, he has so much going for him. Just like, It isn't so much I love you despite your big schnoz. It's like I love you despite your big chip on your shoulder and your raging temper.
Yeah, they never really quite. I mean, I guess at the end when she gives that whole speech where she's like, you know, like she's like, you have a really huge nose, and I love your nose.
Yeah.
And I think when I was 14, I read that as like, oh my God, someone's going to, you know,
love
me despite my like, you know,
short haircut.
Terrible. Oh God.
I don't want to start picking on you.
No, I had this horrible thing. They had this thing called like it was supposed to be a body wave, but I ended up just looking like a poodle. So I tried for the curly hair. It was like a disaster. I was so bad.
You say body wave, it sounds like a surfing product.
Yeah. So. Well, it was supposed to be like a perm that was supposed to be more like, you know, it was supposed to just give you body and waves. And my mother convinced me to get it. I have a lot of issues with my mom this week.
I'm going to blow your mind on something. It just popped into my head. Like 13.
You have natural curly hair.
No.
This
is not about my hair, Polina. For once in my life, this is not about my hair.
How does that feel? Weird.
I was gonna keep talking.
Okay.
I was thinking about our awkward teenage self, and us imagining, thanks to movies like this, thanks to the movie Roxanne, thanks to Cyrano and how it's permeated the culture, we will find someone who will love us despite our insert awkward trait here, despite my love of poodle waves or whatever it is that you were just babbling about.
I didn't love it. I was forced to get it by my mom, but it went horribly wrong.
Polina's mom 2, Polina 0.
I have a lot of issues with my mom and hair.
So I'm thinking about this, but it's really kind of unfair though, because we're awkward. We've got the forehead that breaks out, and if we were to look at pictures, like, and I'm thinking
just the forehead.
That was me. I had a very
had it all, man.
I had a problem with my forehead,
all of it.
So I'm thinking about awkward teenage me, and now I'm not as awkward 30-year-old me. Well, 30s me. I'm not 30 anymore, damn it. And okay. I think about like how much...
I'm not even 30s me.
how much I've kind of grown into myself. I even was just explaining the other day that I don't mind listening to the sound of my voice anymore.
Yeah.
I can see myself in pictures and not cringe. I know how to smile with my eyes. And of course, the second I told that to somebody, we started taking pictures, and I just hated all of them. I'm like,
of course, yeah, I know.
Why did that happen?
I know. And just when you start accepting yourself, well, you're just like, okay, you know, like there's other things to worry about.
Yeah. And so I was just thinking about that, and I have, you know, my very happy marriage. But if I were to really think about it, I'm not sure how comfortable I would be slapping down a picture of my 13-year-old self and say, hey, you love this person no matter what, right? You know? And just like, well, I don't even love that no matter what.
Well, that's the other thing. You don't love yours because you don't know, because you just arrived at this weird body and feelings, and like you don't, like, how could you love yourself when you're like, you just don't, none of it made sense. None of it is yours. It's all, and then I think, you know, as
it's still
women,
still in motion.
It's constantly in motion. And in women, I think you start getting this thing of realizing other people are looking at your body and they're commenting on it.
No,
and
they're not.
Well,
no, they're not.
They are.
I'm in denial, Polina. Let me have my denial.
Yeah, but you hear it, and you're like, for good and bad, you've got this like thing where you're like, okay, my body doesn't feel like my own because it no longer is familiar in a way that when you were a child, it happened slowly enough that it was like, oh, cool, like, you know, I get new shoes or whatever it was when you grew. And then suddenly it's very sudden and it's awkward and you can't talk about it, and you're so uncomfortable all the time. And I think
all I wanted was somebody who loved me despite my Polish, Italian, Guamanian schnoz.
You have a great nose. I think I had issues with my nose too, because it was like a potato nose.
I can show you a diagram of which part is Guamanian, which part is Polish, and which part is Italian.
I have such a Russian nose that there's actually a word for my nose. It's called kartoshka nos.
I don't have a joke to follow
that.
No,
you can't. Thank you. Actually, appreciate that. But now I actually like my nose. I think it's cute. But it's like a little potato. It's like I have a little potato in the end of my nose.
Are you sure that wasn't Spanish for 14? Say it again.
Kartoshka nose. No, it's Spanish. It's potato nose.
It's practically
really
Spanish for 14.
Interesting.
It's really not.
I was like, I don't think it is, but that's okay.
But going back to Roxanne.
Now I get your joke. I just got your joke. Like, I just got it. So, and Polina records another podcast after a bout of extreme insomnia. Here we go.
Let's get back to Roxanne.
So, yeah.
And when did you think that Roxanne and CD, when did Roxanne fall in love with CD and vice versa?
So I actually think that that I think he fell in love with her when she started talking to him about quarks. And
I agree with you. I'm just going to jump right on that.
Oh,
with
yeah.
You. Yeah.
Also, is there anything, that's why The Martian is so great. Is there anything sexier than people talking about the things that they feel passionate about, especially when it's for a short period of time? And
you're talking about the movie
boring
The Martian or the book The Martian?
I never read the book, so only
the movie The Martian. So we're going back to potatoes again?
Oh my God. And it comes full circle. And my mom, no, sorry.
So when they started talking, when she started breaking out books.
I mean, first of all, he's seeing her like, naked, and then she's telling him about the charmed quarks in this like lovely way. And I bet her curly long hair smells really good because she's standing next to him.
Okay. No, there is a moment where she's talking about it, and he just has this look in his face, like, "Who are you?"
And she's talking about the charmed quarks, the charmed and unique quarks. I think
There's 4 kinds.
Yeah,
4 kinds. I do remember that.
Yeah, I remember that from this.
Did it help you pass classes?
Probably.
Oh, good.
Anything.
So that was her.
That was her, yeah.
And I agree with you.
I think it's hard to pinpoint. I actually think it's I do actually think I think it is in the letters and actually when she realizes that the letters are him.
When it is revealed, so he's writing a letter, CD is writing a letter, and his godsister comes up, sees it, and it's obvious to her that he is in love with her, but she happens to be dating the other guy at the time, and what she does is he leaves the letter at the diner that she's at, and she takes that copy and she writes on the back, this
was written by
CD, and she gives it to Roxanne.
Because these letters, I think, are not, like to Roxanne, these letters are not just, like you definitely get the feeling that she's had a bunch of like
admirers?
Not great relationships.
Oh.
She's had a lot of admirers.
Yeah.
But the actual relationships haven't been great.
She talked about one from before the movie starts.
Yeah, like he was supposed to join her.
Right.
And she says, "Oh, I confused, sex for love." And I love the line of Trudy, the waitress. She goes, "I did that once. It was fun." I love that line. There's like a bunch of great lines in this movie. And actually, she is like, for such a small role, she's actually fantastic.
She did a really good job with such a small role.
Yeah.
But it was a very important role, too.
Yeah.
Because in the end, is it Chris?
Chris runs off with her after him and Roxanne start dating.
Yeah. And she doesn't do it
go to
lightly
Tahoe.
either.
No.
She, they talk, they have their own version of banter.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. I mean, you get to see
and this
the
is the
contrast.
thing, you actually see him being really comfortable and happy with her because
Right.
he doesn't have to work at it. And she is already like you're
already
really impressive.
Yeah, she's
smitten.
Yeah, she's smitten with him. She's like,
Not just because he's gorgeous.
no, because he's a world traveler.
Because he's been to Tahoe
and
San Francisco
and New York.
Oh,
wait, he's already beating me. Never mind. Well, you know what? I've been to Dallas.
there you go.
There it is.
There it is.
Suck it, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. And in fact, when they ran off, she even said, like, you told her, right? Even when
because they were friends.
Yeah, and she's
and
like,
she even tries. She's like, and he's. I mean, they literally just. To be fair, they dated for 2 days.
something like that. Yeah. And then they run off to Tahoe together.
Yeah. Why not?
Yep. If anything, it's a good contrast to the fact that they're, similar, things that they want out of life, i.e. travel and just to feel comfortable with each other.
Yeah. Just to bum around and to have fun. I mean, like, fun is kind of their...
And she's got a plan too. She's going to be the hot waitress in Tahoe.
Yeah. And then
she'll move to the older waitress in Reno. And I'm like, okay.
That was a really good plan.
It was actually thought out.
It was really well thought out. She's like, I know what's going to happen. I'm realistic. I'm cool with it. And the thing is, it's like CD, it like has, it, is an interesting person. He's got a lot of, he loves music. He loves learning about things. So he is just a better partner for Roxanne, because she talks about it. She just wants someone who's really smart and that she can talk about things with. So I think that's when. I think basically when she realizes, because the way that to her, these letters and the way people talk about her, I think opened something up in her where she's, like, they weren't just like, oh, this is so cute. It was like this is what made her melt. This is like, this just got her in this way that she's like, kind of almost like, I've never, felt like this before.
Sugar.
Yeah.
What's really rough is I see it in two parts. The first one being she has to leave temporarily for her studies, and she asks CD to ask Chris to write to her, and he's writing her, maybe he even was saying like maybe 3 letters a day.
Yeah.
He was just pouring himself out to her. And I think when she finally fell in love, it's kind of hard because it's like a half and half, like this is the shell, but what's inside it. She fell in love with the inside, which she, comes to realize when the truth is revealed. And I honestly believe it happened among the letters. I would say around letter 18 is when it happened. But I think it's when she made the decision to not name the comet after herself, but after her father, who also has his first name, which I think is funny. Yeah. And I think it was kind of a double homage.
I didn't even
It was like a double homage, really, because she could have left the last name as her own, because presumably her father has the same name, but instead she named the comet Charlie. So it's like it's a double.
Yeah,
it's a double there.
Nice. And she realizes, like, oh, this is something really special. I mean, the sort of cynical adult does look at that and go, well, does she really fall in love with what's inside? Even though they actually have a great relationship, like you see them together and they're always kind of having fun. You see a chemistry between them, but you...
I'm the cynical too, where it's like, it's like...
But she's kind of falling in love with, like, those letters aren't like, let me tell you my thoughts about life and what I'm doing right now and movies and books and art. It's basically, let me tell you about how I feel about you and how you, like, how amazing you are. So, like, part of me is kind of cynical, like, that part feels...
Possibly.
Well, we don't actually know what's in the letters.
I was going to say 30 letters worth. I think after a while, you just kind of open up yourself in a way that's beyond her.
Yeah. Because remember in the first Herman Chris first date, she's like, talk to me about love. Like, basically tell me about this thing. And I know that, I mean, that's a trope of a lot of,
it's a trope
plays.
I poke at Ryan. Be romantic now.
How does that go?
Oh, it doesn't go well.
Oh, of course.
Come on.
I do. I definitely am like, I definitely do the thing of like, if he says like, he's like, you're really smart. Well, tell me how I'm really smart. Or, he's like,
I know
what do you like about my cook? Are you a really good cook? What do you like about my cook?
I know this insecurity. I'll say
it's not even insecurity. I'm just like, I want to know. I want to hear it. I want to hear the details.
I think one of the most common things,
I mean, there's insecurity too. There used to be insecurity. Now I just want to hear it.
I think one of the most common things that Ryan and I say to one another, it's number 1, I love you. And number 2 is, oh, come on, that was funny. That's my insecurity right there. Come on, that was funny.
I don't know. Ours is definitely I love you, but then I think I don't know. God, what is our? But yeah, it's something, a variation of that. Like
I crave validation.
Yeah. I have this one joke, and I tell him over and over again, and I know he's super, super sick of it. And he like to the point where he doesn't even laugh. It's like a little line I do, and it's ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous, and he's totally sick of it, but I am not, and so I refuse to let it die.
Okay, well,
and it's usually something like, I'm like, can I tell you a secret? And you know, when we first started dating, it was because we worked together and we wouldn't tell anybody anything. So I would like walk up to him and say, can I tell you a secret? And I'm like, I have a crush on you. But then after like 20 something years, like he probably has realized I have a crush on him. Mm-hmm. And I still do it. But then sometimes I like to mess with it and I go, can I tell you a secret? I really like pasta. And it's terrible. And he doesn't laugh, but I insist on doing it. And then I get mad that he's not laughing.
Is it always the pasta line?
No, it's like whatever. Like, can I tell you a secret? Mm-hmm. I really, really want to see A Star Is Born or whatever. Like, it'll just be something silly.
Oh, okay.
It's a terrible joke. And he doesn't even find it funny. But for some reason, I'm irritated that he doesn't find it funny anymore. It's not even that good to begin with in 23 years of the same joke. I mean, really.
I now challenge you to finish it with, come on, that was funny.
I think that's my line.
Yeah.
No, okay. I think it's your line.
That's ours line. Our line.
It's a lot of eye rolling.
That's
anyway.
That's just life.
But, you know, poor guy.
Yeah.
He has to deal with it. Okay, so that's when they fell in love.
Important question.
So what do you think happens?
Me?
Yeah, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. I'm going to say that she'll have to finish up her degree. And with the comet discovery, she even said, though, like, oh, what happens if it turns out you're right and there is a comet coming? She's like, well, I graduate. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, she is going to graduate.
But she has to go back to Arizona.
Is that where she was from?
Well, that's where she's studying, and that's where like there's a big observatory there,
right,
in Flagstaff.
Okay, I didn't pick up on that. So I think what's going to happen is she's going to have to return. She's going to have to finish up her studies, and that's a given. And in the interim, she's going to finish up, and then I think what's going to happen is she's going to come back and rent the same place, mm-hmm. and she's going to take 6 months to figure it out. Because she just finished her education, and you have to figure out what's going to come next. I think there's going to be some, not notoriety, but some kind of like papers that can come from her and the comment. She can write up on that, kind of get something published in a journal. But beyond that, she
has to get things published in a journal. She's a astronomer.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's
like repeatedly.
What do you mean?
It's not a one-shot deal.
I'm talking about in this particular instance.
Yeah.
In this particular discovery. Yeah. I'm working on this. Hang on.
Sorry.
I'm Polina. I do this for a living.
Sorry, I work for a scientific... Well, actually, soon I will not work for a scientific publisher, but as of this taping, I work for a scientific publisher.
So Polina's going to take some time off, and then she's going to move up to this cabin in Washington.
I'm going to finally find my friggin' comet.
Someday my comet will come. That didn't work either. So you
tried.
Well, 6 months. She's going to do her writing there, because she can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the 80s, but she can still do writing and then submit it for publication. And in turn, CD is just doing his thing there. I can't even tell how old he's supposed to be.
Yeah, because he's got like the Steve Martin of white hair, pretty early.
Yeah, I mean...
Steve, you're so cute.
Let's just say he's 38.
I have such a crush on Steve Martin.
Really?
Yeah.
Perpetually? Like, since this? Wow.
Everything.
Is it the banjo?
The banjo just like is icing on the friggin' cake. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
Such a crush.
Okay.
I forget about the crush, and then it comes back.
Wow, it did. It just shot
does.
through you.
Oh, he's just like lovely and smart and funny, and I mean,
it's C.D. Barnes.
And C.D. Barnes, and then he plays a firefighter.
Is it Bales? I said Barnes again.
Oh, it's Bales. Now it convinces Barnes. Okay, so she comes back.
She comes back. She's going to be there for a little while. They're going to feel out the relationship. I mean, it's exploding, but it needs an opportunity to just kind of simmer. They need to find each other in the everyday. And I think what's going to happen is that even though they have this between one another, I don't see a long term personally. I think they're gonna burn too bright, like that comet that probably doesn't exist anymore. But we can see it here because that's how science works.
Yes, science.
That's how science works, right?
Yeah, that is how science works.
It's not there anymore?
No, I think that is. I'm not an astronomer.
Yeah, I think somehow that their disintegration of their relationship is going to be in a similar metaphor of the comet that's not there, but was there, that they could see it, but it's not really there.
Yeah.
So that's it. She's going to go off. She's probably going to go for her doctorate.
Isn't she getting her doctorate?
No, I think she was just getting her master's. Just some graduate something. I don't know. She's going to get her second doctorate if I was wrong about that. She's going to be in academia.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
postdoc. She's going to go for a postdoc.
She's going to become an actual medical doctor. Because she already has one doctorate. No, she's gonna finish school.
Why do you do the doctorate?
She's gonna finish academia. She's going to look fondly on that, but she's always going to be more.
And then she's just going to go into research, or
I think
teaching.
I think research,
or teaching and research.
I think it'll be research because you're asking, and I'm making a decision.
Why am I asking? I don't know. Why do I want to know? Why do I care?
Because it's what you do.
That is what I do.
And she's going to be more guarded of her heart because of, trusting, not trusting. Mm-hmm. Men are always trying to pretend to be someone else while professing their love to her. And then the other guy, when it was just about the sex, she can't get it right.
She just can't. It's hard.
And he's going to stay there. He likes the small town life. He likes his community. He's going to get a better crew of volunteers eventually.
Or he's going to train the hell out of them.
I think so. Get some more funding. New volunteers will come.
Well, I think once they realize that it's for realsies, they kind of got in line.
Yeah, I think so. So that's it. It did not last, but it will be forever in the journals of the scientific publication, like the comet and her diary.
I like that. Yeah. I too. Well, I'm not going to give away the ending. So I think what's going to happen is, so they're basically. I think she is going to stay there. I mean, she needs to finish her research, and it's not just about finding it the one time. It's about studying it over time. And if this is the place,
is that how comets work? Go on. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm basing everything I know on this movie and visiting the observatory in Flagstaff.
Okay.
At the very least, this is how it's they have a lot of big, they have a lot of these large telescopes, and they are trained on one place.
Okay.
And I think that I think she's actually going to finish up her dissertation or whatever. Somebody please correct us with the right path. I know only some of this, and it's never in astronomy. But anyway, but as a side note, if you ever get the chance, go to Flagstaff and go to that observatory. It's amazing.
And
it's really, really, really cool. And you'll meet lots of people who are just as passionate and interesting, and you will fall in love with them because they talk about astronomy. I think what'll happen is, so they'll have maybe a year or something, and she's going to go, she'll go to Arizona, but it's not that far. She's going to fly back, a little bit. She'll be gone for a week. She'll be gone there. And then basically she's going to either get a postdoc somewhere, or she's going to have to start, studying, and either they're going to have to move to Arizona or somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he's more mobile, mm-hmm. right? Because he's a firefighter, so you can be a firefighter almost anywhere.
Well, if you're a volunteer, sure.
No, but even if you're, he's a fire There's skills. He's got skills.
Transfer.
He's got skills that can transfer. Mm-hmm. And so, but I think what's going to happen is they are going to have this amazing year, maybe year and a half. And then even when they move, they're going to have this time. But I think eventually the thing that is going to happen is and this is making me sad now, I want to change it, but I think the thing that's going to happen is what he's going to miss is the comfort and the freedom that he found in his hometown, that he gets to be whoever, he doesn't have to introduce him, he gets to be whoever he wants. He has a community that like accepts him and loves him, and not just because of the nose, but he's just a wacky individual. Yeah. And he takes delight in that, and so, instead of being like the weird guy, and he may like, so she moves somewhere, she's nervous, she's a faculty, and they're uptight, and they don't really get him, and they think he's goofy, and he kind of embarrasses her or something. But I think that part's going to start to sour, and then he is going to, and I think he'll move back. But actually, I think that for both of them, it will be something where they're like, oh, I've learned something about what I want. And I think for him, he's going to get over that chip on his shoulder. He's going to be a ton more confident. And, maybe he won't find like the one, but it is a town where a lot of people, move for short periods of time or spend the summer or work in a resort or whatever. Like, I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be happy, and I think he's kind of going to get over this chip on his shoulder because he found, this love, and he's always going to kind of have that. And I think for her, she's going to realize like, oh, this is actually how I want to be treated. Maybe not this. Maybe this is insane. This kind of madness, and she's gonna, find somebody maybe in her field, and I think that's how it's gonna end. I don't think it's gonna end, badly or sadly. I don't think this is like a long-term relationship.
Okay.
I think they're both older and know what they want. At least certainly he is. I mean, at the very least, he's old enough to have enough experience to be a fire chief and not just like another random firefighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
He's in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God, he's Charles in charge.
Oh God. Charles in charge of our days and our nights.
I promised the listeners I wouldn't sing anymore.
Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights.
She's trying really
and
hard.
I see, I got Charles in charge of me. Or wait, no, it's I want Charles in charge of me. I'm sorry, I don't know. Really loopy. All right, so we did it. We talked about Roxanne.
And some other things.
And a bunch of other things. And my mommy issues. Do you recommend it?
It's fun. It's nice. I don't, in the terms
Under
of like,
what circumstances would you seek out this movie? Like if it was
if I had a podcast and
and I was forced to watch it by somebody else.
No, it's not even the forced to. Well, I actually,
like, this is one of those, I have the flu and I need something.
Okay, this is an unfair question because when I have the flu and I want to watch something, I go down a YouTube rabbit hole, and also sometimes an Amazon Prime rabbit hole.
I go down Amazon Prime rabbit hole.
And my
YouTube.
My example for that was what I told you. I watched Beastly, that Beauty and the Beast in high school movie.
Yeah,
it's really not good.
Mine is like getting sucked into some reality TV show for some reason,
and then I'll watch like episode 4 of the BBC Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, BBC Pride and Prejudice.
And then
man.
I'm like, nope, this is not the part I wanted to watch. And then I'll keep skipping until I get to the part that I want to watch.
I always think that when I have the flu, it's the time when I'm going to take on something like Ken Burns' Vietnam. But
so romantic.
Then I fall asleep, and then when I wake up, the Bravo is somehow on, and I'm just too tired to go find the remote, and so I am now suddenly really into like Housewives of Orange County.
Oh no! See, that makes sense because you don't have to change channel. It just
keeps going.
Starts.
It just starts anyway. So I'm not proud of that. Okay, so anyway, I enjoyed it. Like, yeah, it's really, really charming.
No, absolutely.
And he's great. I mean, it really is. It's like, it's a little worse than I remember, but there are some great scenes with him, and
definitely fantastic Steve Martin. If you have not seen it, I recommend you watch it. Sorry, we spoiled it for you. I think I would, if I were to put on a Steve Martin movie though, it would probably be Parenthood.
Parenthood is great.
Which I didn't sing enough praises of on our last episode.
No, I feel the same way. I kind of want to watch Parenthood suddenly. And LA's Story is great.
I have not seen LA Story.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Well,
she's giving me a look.
All right. Well, I don't know. This man will have to continue.
Well, how about this? If you want to share anything about your thoughts on Roxanne,
or if you actually know how one proceeds through the academic world of astronomy, and you want to correct us, or if you know anything about astronomy, or if you had a terrible 80s perm experience, if you're my age, you probably did.
Or if you want to talk about Roxanne.
Yeah, well, you could do that too.
We are on Twitter at HEAMCast.
HEAMCAST.
You can catch us on Facebook at Happily Ever Aftermath. You can email us, contact@heamcast.com. Let us know your thoughts. Yeah. And if you like us, you can rate, review, subscribe. We really appreciate that.
So awesome, because then it helps other people find it, and then we have more.
Or you can tell your friends.
You could also tell your friends.
You can help us, help other people find us, and share the love of apparently astronomy.
Or maybe people knowing more about astronomy than we do.
Yep. So next episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Okay. Calm down.
What are you gonna do?
So
what are you gonna do?
It's Meg Ryan and Tim Robbins, and it's IQ.
Ooh.
Nothing like Einstein being a matchmaker.
I don't know if we haven't done a Meg Ryan except for Harry Met Sally.
Well, so then we have done a Meg Ryan. Then.
I was gonna say, it was like when a minute came out of my mouth, except for the movie that
one of the big ones,
like the Meg Ryan.
In
this is not the Meg Ryan. It's not
me selecting My Blue Heaven and you pivoting to Roxanne.
How did you pick IQ?
No. I tend to find the movies that are not the standard of the main character, type of thing, like Steve Martin. Oh, it's Three Amigos, or it's The Jerk, or something like that. I'm like, no, My Blue Heaven, So this is, of course, Meg Ryan movie, woo, romance. We're gonna watch IQ. Wait, what?
So what was it? Why did you pick it?
Oh, why did I pick it?
Yeah, like what made you think of it?
Well, because it's on Amazon Prime, and I want to pick one that was
because you were
easy.
going through the Amazon. I appreciate that, because I'm starting to have a very embarrassing rental queue.
Yeah, you're showing behind the curtain right now, and you said you wanted to find something easy.
That's true. Okay, that's actually nice.
And if we want to make it all like fancy and something, this is actually the same director as Roxanne.
There you go. Excellent.
It was just kind of a coincidence.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
That's a pretty dang good coincidence.
Well, we will see you when we watch IQ. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not. I know I'm not. Find out. Then why are you making me watch it?
I'm not looking forward to you yelling at me, because why did you make me watch it?
Why did you make me watch this?
Well, I guess we're all looking forward to next episode.
Yeah. Me being cranky.
Okay, fine. We'll get you something fun before we start recording then. That is my promise to the listeners.
Well, I can drink. Next time I can drink.
We will get you some alcohol, and I'll buy you a new toy.
Yay!
So tune in next time where Polina gets a new toy.
Is it a squeaky toy?
No.
That's okay.
That's not how podcasts work.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That would be terrible.
All right. You are your own squeaky toy.
I am my own squeaky toy.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm an only child, okay? I didn't get a lot of toys at Christmas. I don't have any aunts and uncles. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.